All right, guys. We should be just about ready. Anybody not logged on? All right, I guess everybody's ready. You ready to start? These are some very challenging questions. I hope you did your pre-reading that we sent out. All right? All right. We'll see. All right, I'm going to start. All right. There are blank principles of personalized learning. How many principles? Wait, it's just, you just look for the answer here. Just look for the answer here. You just choose the answer on your screen.
Oh my, really? Big one.
See, the competitors are standing up. I see some people caught that image.
Yeah.
All right, so there are seven. Seven principles. 7 principles. Do we need to restart? We good? All right. Uh-oh. That's not good. Hold on. There we go. There we go. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. All right, so there are 7 principles of personalized learning. We'll go a little deeper into that in a second. All right, who is SBA? Okay, good job. Good job. Make sure you look at the shapes, guys. Fulton County has blank cohorts of personalized learning. How many cohorts do we have? So I got 18 answers, so we're getting better. All right, so we got all 24 answers that time. We're making progress. So we have 5 cohorts of personalized learning. 5 cohorts. All right, 5 cohorts. Going on to question 3. CC John. Who's that? CC John. Okay. All right, each student will receive a blank. Everybody doing that. Which device will you receive? Which device? All right, we got all 24 answers, so we can go ahead. Oh, 25, so 6. I thought we had 24. Okay. 26 answers. So yes, almost 100%. All right, so you will form a device selection committee that will kind of walk you through the process of selecting your device. CC John. All right, each teacher will receive a device. This is true or false?
Hold on, CC John. Don't you touch it.
Hey, we got to improvise.
Come on. Come on. No, she hasn't said 0 answers. Mine too. Come on, baby.
Hold on. So I can't ask questions again, but the answer is true. So the good thing about that question, ladies and gentlemen, is nobody lost points or gained points. But it didn't calculate. All right, so we'll move on to the last question.
Last question. All right, come on. Let me get one.
All right. Every student will have to become a certified digital citizen before receiving a device. True or false? Did it come up that time?
Yes.
Okay, so we're hit or miss right now. Waiting on one more answer. Okay, there we go. 27. Okay. True, yes. And this process is a big ordeal. I will give you a heads up. You really do have to plan to fit in about 2.5 hours or so of just training with your students. So it's a mass undertaking as far as scheduling. All right. So, CC John,
It is CC.
I do have an opportunity for you to choose. Now, you know we're balling on the budget, so this is option 1. Option 2, M&M's, candle, smells good, turkey bird, Thanksgiving bird, and some lights.
Yeah.
All right. Good job. Good job. Good job. All right. So, if you open up a new tab, and we're not going to be at it'll work this time. It'll work this time. A new tab, right? You're going to go to this site here. Here it is. app.nearpod.com. You should be familiar with this from Mr. Gadsden's last year. app.nearpod.com. Here's the code. On your top right, you should see, it should say join session. You just put in this code. And this is supposed to be our fastest, network servers in the building. So I'm not sure why we're moving slow now, but bear with us. On the right side, you just enter that PIN. Just type in, you can type in one of your code names or one of your names from back in the day. You can type in. You don't have to type in your government name.
No, you might want to.
I've heard it all in the last few months using AirPod. All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. The good thing about this, you can always catch up, and you can always see what I see on the screen. So worst case scenario, if you don't see it on your device, you can still just use the screen here. All right, so personalized learning at BCMS. This is a image that we use here whenever we talk about personalized learning. So just wanted to share with you. And it was a pretty cool thing I was able to create. I just want to share why I'm so passionate, just to give you a little background about why I'm so passionate about personalized learning. A couple years ago, I had an opportunity to apply for the Aspiring Leaders Program as a teacher. And, you have to go through an application process, and, you pretty much one teacher per school applies, and then they select the top 10 to 15. So as a part of that project, I was paired with the CIO, Ms. Serena Sachs, and she gave me an opportunity to start the groundwork for personalized learning. So it's real passionate. I'm real passionate about it. So here's a picture from that back a couple years ago. So that's kind of why I'm kind of in the trenches, and I just love to be a part of the initiative. I also serve on the steering committee, so if you have some complaints, some issues, I'll be your voice. And also, this is Miss Caitlin Day-Lewis. She's the director for personalized learning. So I just expressed,
Hi, Caitlin.
yeah, welcome. Thanks for coming. I just expressed your concerns to her.
She shares the complaints with me,
Yeah.
so.
All right. So as Dr. Boltnight mentioned earlier, we are a Microsoft Showcase school as of last Thursday. It's a really cool, thank you. It's a really cool opportunity for us. There's only 150 schools in the world at this time, and they are going to provide us with a plethora of resources and professional development. We do have a vision at Bear Creek to become a paperless school by 2018, 17, depends how we, move, how we progress. Hopefully by 2018, definitely, we want to become a paperless school. So this will be instrumental. Yes.
So for people that don't know what a Microsoft Showcase school is, will you explain that?
So basically, Microsoft will be at Bear Creek often. There's 2 schools in Fulton County that applied for the Microsoft Showcase School. With that becomes professional development on Microsoft tools. So with Office 365, one of our goals is to have our teachers create digital binders in Microsoft OneNote. And again, that's a part of the paperless process. So that's our driving, task, our target goal for right now is for them to come in and to build our capacity as a staff to have a paperless Office 365 streamlined process from 6th grade to 8th grade, where every student that walks in the building can open up their device and they can have their entire, their assignments, their binders on Office 365. Now, hopefully the internet is working good every day, right? So that is the goal, yes. All right. And there's plenty of information on their website about this as well. All right, so how do you define personalized learning? I just need a one-sentence definition. How would you define it? Because I know there's a lot of talk around it, but how do you define it? What does it mean to you? All right, and then I'll give you the district definition to see if it matches up. And if you still can't log on, we do have some Ethernet plugs. I know you're here in spirit if you're not logged on virtually. So just one sentence. I know we have some ELA teachers in here, but it doesn't have to be a paragraph. Just one sentence. Okay, so I'm just going to read out a few answers. Blended instruction that's tailored to my learning needs and goals. Great answer. Learning is customized to learners' individual needs, skills, and interests. Another great answer. Using data to meet the needs of all learners. Great answer. All right, all of these fall under the umbrella of personalized learning. So I'm going to give you about 30 more seconds just to jot down your final thoughts before we move on. Read a couple more. Meeting students at their level of academic performance. Awesome answer. Engaging instruction that helps students learn better. Yes. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and slide to the next screen and tell you the district definition. Learning customized to an individual learner's needs, skills, and interests. That shouldn't be on there. Hold on. Learning customized to an individual learner's needs, skills, and interests. Hold on one second. All right, there we go. All right, so that's a very broad definition for personalized learning, but that's exactly what it is. The reality of it is we're doing most of the work right now. It's just getting it streamlined, organized, and driven by data to really make it work and to really make it have meaning for our staff and our students. So with that being said, here's our challenge. Your challenge, every school's challenge, is to get these 7 principles into the walls of your schools, right? To get these 7 principles being performed or executed in a proficient manner where anybody can walk in your school and say, this is a personalized classroom. So that's our challenge as a district. So that's going to have a huge impact on a variety of different things within your school. So facilities, like a perfect example, we were fortunate enough to have a grant for Teach to One. So the math team is already doing personalized learning at a very, very high level. So we had to change the facilities. So we weren't here the whole summer because they had to knock out the walls. They provided the Epson projectors and a lot of equipment like the TVs and things of that sort. So that's just an example of how you're going to have to change your thinking and kind of change the makeup of your school. All right, so this is our challenge. 7 principles. I'm not going to touch on these specifically. I usually would. But since you guys had that pre-reading, you should be familiar with the 7 principles. I know everybody's busy. All right, moving right along. So I'm just sharing our instructional model here at Bear Creek, and I'm gonna bring it all together when we finish this afternoon, and really touch on how we implemented this instructional model here today in this very session. So with this model, and again, you'll go through this process with Ed Elements. I know we only have 2 cohort 1 schools Liberty Point and McNair, you're a launch school. So you've been through the process of creating your instructional model. So I'm just sharing a sample. It's going to be specific to your needs at your school. But here you have a whole group opening, and you have station rotations, which will vary depending on the content and depending on the grouping. You may group students in groups. You may have a virtual center and what have you. And then we would always close out with a formative, a reflection, or some type of summarizing closing activity. That's just one model here at Bear Creek. Now, one thing we started to implement here at Bear Creek as well is doing the pre-assessment 2 weeks in advance. So imagine, go back to our teacher days when we were teaching, and we would have to do that pre-assessment on day one of that unit, right? There's really not enough time for you to dig into that data and really have some true grouping strategies unless you stayed all night that night after that pre-assessment. So what we do here is we have our pre-assessment well in advance. We get with our data support specialists, and we form our groups. We do our data protocol, and we form our groups, and we really talk through the data. So again, this is just a sample that we had to create, and you'll create this as a component of your process as well with Ed Elements. Just to give you some context, Ed Elements is the consulting group that you will use and you'll be trained to. Now, everybody in your school will not go. So, for example, at Bear Creek, we had 7 representatives go. Usually, it's only going to be 1 AP. So it's very instrumental that you learn this now, so you're not stuck with the lack of knowledge about personalized learning. So I think it's powerful, especially if you're not going to be on that team, to learn. So just to be transparent with our team, I always come back and re-deliver what we talked about, so everybody's speaking the same language in the building, and they come back and tell me about testing and assessment and all that good stuff too. So we kind of bounce ideas off each other. All right? So you're probably going to have one person from your team actually going to these sessions. All right? And I'm fortunate to have a great team. And if we can just give it up, because they put all this together, Mr. Wheeler, Dr. Boltnight, and Ms. Young, greatly appreciate it. I had to ask for their permission to host. So moving right along. Here's our second option. And we're going to go over this in depth, in detail. Mr. Gubani in the back, he is actually a teacher here at Bear Creek. And the 7th grade science team implemented this model without the device. Okay, so that's going to be your driving message to your staff as you start to deliver the professional development that goes along with personalized learning. They took the initiative, led by Mr. Gubani, to go ahead and start the model without their device, all right? So he's going to walk you through the process of how they planned, how they grouped, and how they saw awesome results using one of our models. So he'll be set up over there in a few minutes. All right, so it's station time. Let's talk about our protocol. If you would hand me those cups, ma'am. Thank you so much. All right, here's our protocol. So we're going to have 3 stations. Station 3 is Emory, Station 2 is Spelman, and Station 1 is Howard, and that's in no specific order. No specific order at all. But Station 1 is going to be down there at Howard. Station 2 is going to be here in Spelman again. Station 3 is going to be at Emory. If you have a question, if you're stuck, we're going to use these cups to help me know where you're at as a group, right? We're going to use the same strategy Ms. Millen used, and you're going to go in your feeder groups to the different stations. So if you're green and you're good to go, all I need to see is this on your table. That tells me you're good, all right? But if you're not getting it, or you're not understanding the concepts that are going to be at your station, just please put up a red cup so I know. If you're almost there, you're kind of on the fence, just use a yellow cup, okay? So I always try to use a strategy when we do PD. So that's going to be our station protocol. So this is the way it's going to work. We're going to start off in our feeder groups. So if, when I say the key word is going to be go, I'm sorry, teacher and me. What we're going to do is there's some earbuds that you will need. Just to give you a heads up, Emory is going to be a virtual station, okay? It's going to be virtual content. Station 2, Spelman, is going to be facilitator-led. So I'm going to talk you through some things. And Station One by Mr. Gubani, you're going to watch a video on the actual differentiation day that they did, and he's going to walk you through the process, and you can ask him some questions about how it went, what steps did you take, some hard lessons learned, because I'm sure he has many to offer, because whenever you try something new, you're going to go through some hard lessons. And then we're going to rotate. So I'll make the announcement when it's time to rotate, but we're going to go in a sequential order. So we'll start off at 1. So if you start there, you'll transition to station 2, 2 to 3, and 3 will go back on over to 1. All right, so if my largest group, Langston, no favoritism. Langston, you're going to start off on station 1. If you go ahead and pick up your earbuds here. Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Do we need our electronic device?
You do, yes, ma'am. You do need your device. You can leave, your purse and all that good stuff. So I am specifically not going to use this station because I know your personal items are here. We're going to be in the one next door right here at Spelman. All right. So all my Langston cluster people, all-stars, you're going to go all the way down to Howard. If all the Creekside cluster APs and AAs, if you would go to Spelman.
Do they need earbuds?
Yes, they will.
Okay.
You can go ahead and pick up your earbuds now because you'll need them eventually. Yeah. All right, so we should have Westlake left and Banneker. Okay, we're going to have Westlake come over here to Emory, please.
Let me get your earbuds for you, go. Where's Banner?
And Banneker, you're going to come over with Creekside. Is that okay? Okay. All right, so Westlake, all the instructions, all the details are at that URL. So all you have to do is type in that URL, and you'll be good to go. All right? All right, thank you. Excuse me. Banneker's right here. Right here.
Oh, well, where's
Creekside and Banneker.
Oh.
Yeah. Are you Creekside or Banneker? Yes. All right. If you would go ahead and go to this link here, tinyurl.com/SLCPL station 2. And Emery, if you just hold up the cup, if you have a question, just let me know. Yeah. All right, so we're going to start off. That's SLPL station 2. SLC, excuse me, PL station 2. tinyurl/SLCPL station 2. All right, so one thing I'm going to discuss in this station is the actual evaluation of personalized learning. So as an instructional leader, how do you evaluate personalized learning in your building? So I'm going to share a walkthrough tool that we use here at Bear Creek to evaluate our teachers. Now, this is not going to be standard across the board. This is just something that's specific to Bear Creek that we use, but I figured I can share it. You can tweak it. You can use it. You can make it your own, whatever you need to do. So I'm going to go ahead and touch on that hyperlink. And I'm going to scroll through as we go. All right, so imagine going into your classroom. I'm going to shut this door real quick. And I'm going to turn this. Imagine walking into the classroom with your iPad, your laptop, and observing personalized learning, right? Say a teacher said, come on by, I'm going to use an instructional model, and you have to have some way to give him or her some feedback. So this is a tool that we use. Very, very basic. At the top, content area, grade level, date and time, which instructional period. And then as you scroll down, you start to get into those 7 principles. That's when you really get an opportunity to gauge the level of engagement with these 7 principles. So is your instruction aligned to the school's personalized learning instructional model? Do you see that? The one we just talked about, the 2 models with the station rotation and the cross-teaching model. Do you see that? Is that evident at that specific time? All right. The second thing we look for is the groupings. Are the students grouped based off data, right? Based off that pre-assessment data that we talked about. Okay. Are routines and procedures in place to promote purposeful and productive work in this model? All right. That's more of your, and that can really apply to just your regular TEKS walkthrough. That's not specific to personalized learning, but that is something that we always look for, right? So which principles are evident? So out of those 7 principles, which principle is being implemented in the moment at that time? That's what we want to gauge. We want to be able to look at that. We want to be able to look to see evidence of those principles. All right? What student behaviors are observed? What are the students doing at that specific time that you're in? Okay? Those are the things that we're looking for when we look for personalized learning. So this is a common walkthrough tool that we'll use here at Bear Creek. Okay? We can use it now because it's more than just a device, even though we don't have our devices yet. But the teachers know there's an expectation to really see it kind of full throttle, full speed as we get into that January, February timeframe. Okay? So I'm going to share this out. This is a Google form, so you can simply, when I share it out, you can file, make a copy, you can change the image, you can change the name, and you can make it your own. The purpose of this session is for us to share, and so you don't have to reinvent the wheel necessarily, right? So as I scroll down to the bottom, this is one that is very, very important to see how many students are engaged, all right? And that's something we kind of talk about when we talk as far as the admin team. Let's look at the engagement. That's one of the key indicators we kind of measure when we go through and do our observations. This one is important too. So the most difficult principle that we saw that was hardest to implement here as far as teachers' readiness was the co-planning. So when we say co-planning, that's not planning with other teachers, that's planning with students. So that's student and teacher conferences. Do I have my own, in my ISN, do I have my own academic progress goal? Okay, so getting that real live co-planning with the student and the teacher to make it, personalized for me. All right, for me to meet my needs. So is there some type of data notebook? And this can be in your ISN. So in the student's composition book, they might have a sheet for that unit where it has their pre-assessment data on it. And they can really go in and see, okay, this is what I need to do better on. My homework needs to be more focused on this standard. There's a variety of things you can do with these academic goals, using a tool to track that. Now, which tool are they going to use? That's up to you as a school. That's teacher by teacher. We're not really going to pigeonhole the teachers into one specific tool. Now, if we want to use some shared decision making and come up with a tool as a school, we welcome that, but we're not going to kind of make sure you use one tool unless it's not sufficient enough or efficient enough for us to track that data. All right? So I'm going to, again, I'll share all this out for you guys. The second thing I wanted to share Well, how many of you know your KSU coach in the building? Okay, so you're cohort 1. What cohort are you, ma'am?
4, but she already stopped by.
She already stopped by. Okay, so go ahead and start communicate. Well, the communication will be sent to you. When you have your KSU coach in the building, they're going to use this thing called the Technology Integration Matrix, right? They're going to do walkthroughs. That's their job, so make sure they're doing it. They're going to do walkthroughs, and they're going to give you some live data on your level of technology integration. So we use that data as a school here to determine what device we wanted to select, all right? So we went with the Dell notebook, specifically because with the Dell notebook, you get a KSU coach for 2 full years, and their sole purpose, 5 days a week, is to help teachers integrate technology. So based off the data from our TIM ratings that your KSU coach provides, they are, yeah. I just tried it out. Which one? Just a tiny URL? I just tried it out. Did it say SLC PL Station 3? I just tried it out. Okay, give me 1 second, guys. It does work. I knew it worked. Give me 1 second, guys. It does work. I just tried it.
We sure does, but we need permission.
We don't have
to
permission.
to Google accounts. It's a Google.
I'm so sorry. Give me 1 second. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pull up the second tool before we rotate. What time are you at, 6:25?
Yeah.
All right. All right, it's SLC AZ PL Station 3. SLC, and just add the AZ PL Station 3. All right, we're gonna move right along. And we got just a couple more minutes at this station. So this is the technology integration matrix, and I don't wanna use up your time just to show you what it is. So I'm just going to really just click on it so you can see it. It's an entire matrix where you can see the different levels as far as technology integration should look like at your school. And like I said, the KSU coach will kind of walk you through that process and actually will have a formal meeting with you when they talk about your data. So for example, at Bear Creek, our KSU coach went into 61 rooms, did 61 observations. So that was a pretty good idea of where we were at the school. We got a pretty good snapshot of where we were at. So there's one for students. So what should students be doing in the moment using that technology integration? And there's one also for teachers as well. So that was the student rubric. Here's the teacher rubric, just so you can see. And again, you'll get briefed on this with your KSU coach. So I don't want to spend too much time on this. And the last thing I wanted to share was the different providers. So when we talk about technology integration, so what are the teachers using? What are they using? You know, are they telling the kids to go to Google and search for things just to do research? Are they actually using a content provider? All right, so this is a list right here of different providers. Some of these are already paid for by the district, so you can feel free to, you know, kind of peruse, get with your Medi. Your Medi should have all the subscription information with the different digital content providers. So even though you'll see some are free and some are already paid for. So feel free to kind of navigate and take a look at some different different content providers with that. We got like 2 more minutes. You want to just stop them and talk to them? Yeah. You guys should see the Teach in One lab. When they're in here, it's like five teachers, 100 kids. Six teachers. Oh yeah, in the 6th grade lab. Yes, ma'am. 6. Yeah. So we got about 2 more minutes. Do you have any general questions that I can answer? Any general? Yes, sir.
So with your forms, with the Google forms that you use for your walkthrough,
Yes.
so you input it in here, and then
I know what you're going to ask.
then
Yeah, so the beauty of Google Forms is it will upload the data into a spreadsheet, and you can have that color-coded. So if you check no for they're not using an academic tool, it'll turn red when you look at that spreadsheet. So it'll make it easier to kind of analyze that data and to get a live picture of what's going on in the classroom. So yeah, every time you create a Google form, you get a Google spreadsheet with the responses. Yes, sir.
I was just talking about the responses that you actually input into the platform, the Teach platform for teachers. So you'll do a walkthrough here, and then you also take this information, and then you go back and put it in the platform.
So we're not really applying this to TEKS. This is kind of, so here we do our regular minimum requirement, and then we do 5x5s or 5-minute walkthroughs, just to get a snapshot and just so the teachers know that we're always in the classroom and instruction is priority number 1. So this won't necessarily go into TEKS. This will just be for our admin meetings when we meet and we talk about, okay, what standard are we struggling in right now, so, yeah. But you could, if you want to type it all up in a Google form and then just copy and paste it, you really could, yeah. All right. So they're about to wrap up. They're engaged. Any general questions I can answer? No? Good. We got 1 more minute, Mr. Gubani. 1 more minute. Yes, sir. So we stay on time here. We got like 1 more minute. I know you guys got short change. I'll make it up to you. All right.
We're meeting for science learning for the district, so it's really kind of going into a lot of different departments and helping support them with the projects they're working on. Obviously, the teaching department doing a lot of work, learning and teaching. Our evaluation.
I try to give y'all a shout out. Y'all acting brand new. Y'all like, Y'all like, All right, we got about 30 more seconds before we rotate. Yeah, we gotta rotate. So we're about to rotate in about 1 more minute, and you guys will go down to Howard at Station 1.
Howard.
Yes, ma'am.
You want
Howard.
the bill?
Yeah, I'm gonna.
We'll just see him coming, we'll get him.
Yeah. Okay. All right, all right, guys. Station 2. We're gonna go ahead and rotate to Station 3. You guys are at Station 3, and you will need your earbuds. Yeah. All right, we're good. We're good to rotate. Yeah. Hey, Miss Young, can you write in that AZ? Oh, you already wrote it in. All right, thank you. Thank you, thank you. It's on you guys. I told you he was a man, but we got to rotate. We got to rotate.
Because I want to make sure I fully let them know the reason why
They coming, man.
you not have to have devices for personalized learning is this. And as you all can see, devices are not.
So you guys will go to Howard, and we're gonna shut him down real quick because he get to talking. Yeah. Oh, y'all know? Oh, you know? Him. Yeah. Hey, what's up, man? Everything good? Yes, sir. We gonna shut him down. He be talking.
I'm sorry we took some time.
We gotta rotate.
You all, okay, you all can go and rotate. We'll get you out.
Don't wanna let him speak
Yeah, you guys are coming to Spelman. So Station Howard, you're gonna come to Spelman. Not too far away, right?
My device is dead.
Well, we got some iPads right there.
You got iPad chargers in there? I'm gonna just charge it.
It depends which iPad you have. Last time I checked, I don't think our adapters are gonna sync with your iPad. You're right. So, Howard, you're gonna come over to Spelman, right here. Yeah. No, that was 1. This is 2. Yeah. All right. So, this is the link, and you can't see it, so I will. Let me write it again for you. So it's tinyurl.com. Let's start there. tinyurl.com. SLC PL Station 2. Not too hard, right? SLC PL Station 2. All right. All right, so I'm going to walk you through a few things. The main thing I'm going to touch on is how to evaluate personalized learning. Because if you refer to the TEKS indicators, you'll only see the word technology one time. Okay? And that's in the indicator. It's not even in the regular rubric. So I'm going to go through what we use here. So this is a tool that we use to evaluate personalized learning. We want to see if the teachers are actually using the model, right? So it's very basic. Teacher, grade level, content area, observer's name, instructional block, And then we're looking for the personalized learning indicators. So now we start to dive into the principles of personalized learning. What does that look like in the moment in the context of your classroom? So the first question, pretty general, is it aligned to the instructional model? So for us, that would look like something that Mr. Gubani just kind of shared with you, or it might be a station rotation model, which you're seeing right now where we kind of rotate the different stations. Another thing we look for is instructional groupings. What type of groups are you using? Is it based on data, right? Are routines and procedures in place to promote purposeful and productive work in this model? Okay? What principles of personalized learning are evident? So again, going back to those 7 principles, and I will be honest, the most difficult principle for us to implement is co-planning. That's not co-planning with your peers. That's co-planning with the student. So those student-teacher conferences, one-on-one, or it might be a small group where in their ISN you might see a page where they have their pre-assessment data and you have some goals kind of lined out for them. Okay? So that's, yes?
Do you use like electronic communication
So
as opposed to just face-to-face, or could you use?
eventually that's our goal. So what we want to have happen with the Office 365, we want to be able to have teachers and students engage in a dialogue during their discussion. So I might be here with this group, but I might be typing to this group over here who are trying to set some goals. So we use all-in learning, the data, the pre-assessment data. So that allows us to print off a one-pager, which has that specific student's, their results from that pre-assessment or post-assessment, because we really have to look at the post-assessment as well to reteach and spiral and review. All right? So great question. What student behaviors are observed? So what are the students doing in that moment? Okay, which principles of the following teacher habits are evident? So intentional grouping. For example, I walked into one class, and I talked to the students. So I asked, are you always in these groups? How do you choose your groups? And they'll tell you, well, sometimes we're in a different group. So I said, why? So she said, the student I talked to said, well, she puts us in groups based off how we did on the assessment. Now, the beauty of it is they have team names. So it's not like your level 1s, level 2s, level 3. She uses a sports theme in her classroom. So, well, I'm with the Falcons today. So, I ask them if they're on that team every day. That's never good, right? So that's one of the things we look for. And student engagement, of course, is a big piece to that. Can students articulate their personalized academic goals? Can students actually tell you what they're working on, what they're doing in the moment? So that's just a resource. I told the first group that I'm going to send this out. This is a Google form. You can file, make a copy, change the image, use specific things that are specific to your setting, to your school, and please, by all means, don't feel the need to reinvent the wheel. This is just a resource that you can use, and I'm just sharing an example that we use here. So with Google Forms, if you're not familiar with them, it does send your responses to a spreadsheet, and with that spreadsheet, you can color code it. So like say you checked off no here, that'll be a red cell. That'll be that piece will be red in the spreadsheet. If you checked yes, it will be green, and you can set it to, if it's somewhat, it'll be yellow, just to give you a quick snapshot so you can analyze the data pretty quickly instead of having to go through each specific teacher. All right? So the other thing I want to share with you, is anybody cohort 1 school in here? Okay, so you're familiar with the KSU coach, right? Okay, so did they start the TIM walkthroughs yet? Oh, did they meet with you yet? And they told you the data? Okay, great. So that was one key piece. So for those of you who haven't met your KSU coach yet, basically KSU has an iTeach program, which is like instructional technology program, and they're going to come through using this rubric to see where your teachers are at as far as their level of technology integration in the moment, okay? So they do random walkthroughs. Like they only come once a week. Is that the same setup at your school? So once a week they'll come in. So our KSU coach did 61 walkthroughs, and then we had a formal meeting to see where were we at as a school, where our progress as a school, to see what level we fell into. We fell into entry and adoption. We're not here yet, okay? Most schools aren't, but we're not there yet. But we use that data to kind of make our decision and tailor our decision on our device, okay? So if you go with the Dell Latitude, the notebook, which is basically a smaller version of what we have with our laptops, but it does come with a camera. If you go with that option, you do receive a KSU coach that will come 5 days a week for 2 years, 4 semesters. Or if you choose a Google, Dell Chromebook, it's really a Google device, but a Dell Chromebook, you'll get a KSU coach as well. Now, if you choose an iPad, you will not receive a KSU coach. If you choose a Microsoft Surface Pro, you will not receive a KSU coach. So just look at because it might be very well a situation at one of your schools where you're pretty much here. You may not need somebody to do technology integration on a day-to-day basis, right? You may be able to build some teacher leaders in your school to kind of build your capacity build. We're at the point where we want as much support as we can get with these devices. So that's why we opted with the Dell Notebook. Also, a lot of our students don't have internet at home. So in order for them to do an essay, they can't do that on a Chromebook because it's all web-based. So a couple of those things, that's kind of case by case that you have to weigh out on your own. So that's the one for the teacher descriptors. There's also one for students, so you can look at what your students are doing. And again, your KSU coach will provide all of that information for you to share where you're at as a school. Okay? Any questions so far? Okay. So also I wanted to share, when you're going in and you're doing your observations, I know it's easy for us to tell students to go to Google, go research this, research that. But Fulton County does provide some content providers. So I have a list here of the content providers. Some of them are already purchased by the district, and I'm sure you know this. Some are free, but some cost money, but some may be worth it. All right? So these are all different content providers that the district has approved, but some of them are not free. Okay, so you can use that to your advantage when you're going in. Especially, you get a lot of, say it again?
That's a fantastic.
Yeah. So I'll share all this out. I'm gonna try to put everything in just one link so you won't have to go all over the place, just so you can have all that.
Can we add it to the agenda?
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, I think we can. Yeah, we should be able to, right? Yeah. So this has pretty much everything you need, from science to social studies to health. So it can be very useful in your school building. So definitely I'll share this out with you guys. Any questions about the evaluation piece? No? All right. So, yes.
When you use the walkthrough, did you ever convey that into TEKS?
Well,
Like
and that's a good question. Eventually we will, but the way we were trying to roll it out is so we want to encourage teachers to take risks. So we don't want it to be a situation where, you're not using principle 3, 4, and 5 and mark them down on it. We wanted to kind of encourage them to take risks. So we're at the point right now where we're telling them, let us know when you're doing personalized learning model. Just because it's not the expectation yet, it's highly encouraged. So similar to with Mr. Gubani, they let us know, okay, 2 weeks from now, we're planning right now to do personalized learning. Can you come check us out? And that's why we were able to take the footage and see everything kind of in the moment. But that is a good question that came up earlier. I think, in the spring, I would feel comfortable using that to kind of evaluate on certain standards for TEKS. But right now we're trying to encourage teachers to just take risks, you know, kind of shoot for the stars, use the model without the device, get them in the habit of just using the model. But that's a good question, Ms. Martinez. All right, so we got a couple more minutes so we stay on time. You know, we got curfew. Do we have time for the last rotation? It's going to be short. Okay. Can we rotate now, Ms. Miller? 1 minute. So we got 1 more minute.
So did you do, when you did the descriptors for the students, did you guys review that with them as part of the digital citizenship? Or was it kind of like you just looked to see what the teachers are doing in their classroom and then assign the students to that?
That's a good question. So we have not gotten to the point where we have embedded the language with the students. It's more, everything's kind of teacher focused right now. Now with your rollout plan, and I'm sure some schools know this, the county does pay for 10 students to become your tech squad, and they go through a 3-day training, an 8-hour day training, so 24-hour, 24-hour training, where they'll actually be trained by this company called iSchool. All right, so there's a formal application. We'll make a big to-do about it, and they'll be trained by iSchool, and they'll be helping with our deployment of the devices on that day. So I think that's going to be our starting point, making our student leaders, and then we'll go to the process of, you know, building the capacity of this. Ms. Miller, I think it's time, guys. We're running out of time. 10 minutes.
We definitely gonna do it again, hands down. We already have things in rotation.
I got 10 minutes.
Come January.
I have 5 minutes.
Again, that planning piece.
So we got to rotate now?
We had a good time. No. Real quick. I had to take y'all.
I need your help on that last slide.
All right.
We staying or you gotta go?
No, I'm saying.
You sure you,
Yeah. I'm not on curfew.
this week?
We just going to do one more rotation, guys. I know y'all know your talk. We're going to rotate over there. This is going to be our last one. I promise. Last one. We're going to go to station. This is our last rotation, guys. Last rotation. I know we almost at curfew here. It's our last rotation. Yeah. We're gonna shut this down.
Us at the time, it's gonna be readily available for the students. So again, this way, it did work, and we're definitely gonna come back doing this again. So, I hate to wrap it up with you all, you all maybe transitioning down this way. All right. Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
All right, we got to speed up here. All right.
Oh man, got some stuff going on.
Westlake Cluster, where it all started.
I like that stuff.
Hey, how you doing? Yes, I'm gonna make it quick. Scouts on me. And please let me know when I run out of time. 3 minutes. Come on, Miss Grubbs. He gets in the zone. The kids love him. Cause see that energy?
Yeah.
Like he comes in the building. Woo! Like this every morning. Hype. Wow. This is like 7 o'clock. All year. That same energy. That's what I love about him. He's a great teacher. All right, so. All right. I know we're waiting on 2. All right, so I'll go ahead and get started. I know they're coming. And just to speed things up, you don't have to go to the URL because I know we're running out of time here. So just to speed things up, and I'm greatly apologize about that little dilemma you guys had up there. So I'm just going to share it from my screen and we can kind of view it together. I'm going to talk about evaluating your teachers as far in regards to the personalized learning model. So how does that look like? Totally different from TEKS as far as just what we're looking for in that personalized learning model. Now, they do overlap and they do apply because it's data-driven and all that good stuff. But just for right now, as we encourage teachers to take those risks to implement the model, we have to give them some type of feedback, right? So we're at the point right now where we're actually evaluating them based off the model. So I'm going to show you a tool that we use. This is a common walkthrough tool that we use here at Bear Creek. And the top is pretty basic. You know, teacher name, grade level, content area, all that good stuff. And now, as you get down to the bottom, we start to get into those 7 principles. What do they look like in the moment? Okay? So you'll see, is the instruction aligned to the personalized learning model? Very simple, yes or no. And then we look to see what type of groupings are evident. What type of data are you using the data to form your groups? What principles of personalized learning are evident? Okay, out of those 7 principles, do we see one of those principles when we walk in for that moment? What student behaviors are observed? All right. So again, going back to our specific model, we would see things like if you're in a peer-to-peer group, we would see some engagement. We might see some dialogue. We might see a couple students using peer editing software to edit a paper. Okay, that's how it looked like for us. And I know it varies from school to school. But what I'm going to do is share this resource so you guys can, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can tweak it and use your own verbiage, change the image. I'm sure everybody doesn't want that. But one of the main things I want to touch on, the most difficult principle for our teachers to implement is the co-planning. And we're not talking about co-planning with teachers. We're not talking about common planning. We're talking about co-planning with students and teachers. So one-on-one planning. So perfect example, we have this one great teacher, kind of all hands on deck with personalized learning. So she's already rolling it out without the devices, right? She has in her ISN, we use all-in learning here for data. In each student's ISN, they have their own data sheet from the pre-assessment and from formatives. So she can go in and track their academic progress or set goals for the students so they have a standard that they know they need to master, what they need to aim for. So those are the things that we're looking for with personalized learning as far as a walkthrough tool, all right? Especially going down to asking students if they can articulate their goals. Do they know what their goals are? What is their, and that goes back 1 minute, 2 minutes. That goes back to, the objective for the day. But that's going to be personal to kind of each student, each goal that was set in advance. So one thing I want to share with you real quick, because this is important, and I think you need to, and everybody, well, you're cohort 1. So everybody else, you guys are Westlake. So you guys are cohort 4. Okay, so have you met your KSU coach yet? No. Okay, so when your KSU coach starts to come around, they're going to use something called the Technology Integration Matrix. They're going to do random walkthroughs throughout your building, looking at the level of technology integration in your building, right? And with that matrix, there's some indicators. So here are the student indicators. And then you have your teacher indicators. So for example, they did 61 walkthroughs here at Bear Creek. They only come once a week, and they come for about a 2.5 month, 3 month period, right? And their job is just to look at technology integration. So the majority of our teachers and students fell into this category. So we use that data to help make our decision about which device to select. If you go with the Google Chromebook or the Dell notebook, the regular laptop, you receive a KSU coach for 4 semesters, and they're there 5 days a week. And their only sole responsibility is to help with tech integration. So at Bear Creek, we thought that was necessary for us to have that support, right? Because if you go with the iPad or the Microsoft Pro, you don't get that. So strategically, we felt it was most important for us to have that KSU Coach. So we went with the Dell Notebook as our option for the device. Plus that had 500 gigs of memory compared to an iPad with 64 gigs. So there's a couple things we had to weigh out. And as you know, some of our students don't have internet, so they needed that Microsoft Word on their actual device. You're not going to get that with the Chromebook because it's all web-based, all right? You're not going to get that with the iPad. You can get an app, but you have to log on to the internet to get an app. So we had to weigh those things to help inform our decision, and that's where we were at as a school, okay, with our decision. All right, so moving right along, we got one more minute. When you're looking through, when you're walking through and you're looking at the different proficiency levels of personalized learning, and you know, what you don't want to see is everybody using Google to do research, or you telling the kid to search. Yeah, that's integrating technology, but at what level, right? So just be cognizant of the different tools that the county offers. Some are free, some are already purchased. Some you might have to come out the bank a little bit, but it might be worth it. So I'm going to share this piece right here, this link right here, just so you can have a hands-on kind of look to see where you're going, where your school is going, and the direction they're moving in. Just so you know, when you're having those feedback conversations with the teachers who are not integrating technology at a high level, you can say, well, we already have this purchased by the district, use this, or use Edgenuity, or use GoQuest, you know. So this is a good way to kind of transition that conversation into some action steps. So this is what we have for you, this is what you can use.
Do we have access to Nearpod, or is that just?
I'm going to share everything out with you. I'm trying to get it all on one link so you don't have to go all over the place, and I'm going to ask if we can, you know, send it out to everybody. Yeah. Okay. All right. All right, we got to wrap it up. Can you just talk to him real quick?
Okay, you all, let's go ahead and pull the earphones out. But real quick, I'll go ahead and briefly tell you all our planning process, the process we actually went through. And last time we just go through the pros and cons. I'll let you all get some questions.
All right, guys. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it. All right, I'm bringing everybody back, Ms. Miller. All right. All right, guys. We are almost at our curfew here. So I think we got to head on back. I think we're getting ready to close. I'm going to share out all the links and the resources so you guys have one place to kind of go and get everything you need. You will.
You start your lesson from whatever level as a teacher you would present to them. So from there,
All right, I'm stopping. Thank you.
Go ahead.